I was gonna say
fuck.
E, but oh, someone's here already.
We already got grenaders.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
Holy
Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit!
I know here.
Oh my!
nice.
Oh my god!
Good job, Dice.
It's a flame trooper.
Nice.
Oh shit! Yeah, I just bayoneted him. Over here, I need help, dude.
Stands up. Is that really? This is great for other people.
Right there, Flux, right?
Nice.
Batman knows all about it.
Where is... You got revived probably a million times. Oh my god, these dudes are everywhere.
That's shitty spawn.
That was the
Yo, we need to survive this. We don't have a spawn anywhere else. To get beer today. UG boys.
Flux, watch your back there.
I got that.
Like all black. This squo.
What's going on, guys? GamerFlux here, bringing you the first video of the channel. And today's topic is going to be cryptocurrency mining in the current video card market. So what's going on here? You've probably noticed that you can't buy an RX 470, an RX 480, a 570, or a 580 at any decent price on any website, Newegg, Tiger Direct, Amazon, or even eBay. And if they do have them available, they're going for like $500-600 new and about $400 used. So the reason is that there's a new cryptocurrency called Ethereum, and they are buying these cards to mine Ethereum, and you know, to an extent Bitcoin and some of the other cryptocurrencies out there. But the mad rush is for Ethereum right now. So the Radeon cards are very, very good at mining the cryptocurrencies. And you know, all the mid-range cards are sold out. AMD does not make a high-end card at the moment. Vega is coming out, but it's not out yet, and the 480 is pretty much a mid-range card. Most gamers are mid-range card buyers. So what can you do? What are your options? You can go with the Nvidia side and get a 1060, a 1070, or a 1080. But these prices have been inflated as well. And the 1060 gigabyte, this 1060 6GB model, I can't even find it. And if I can, it's highly inflated in price as well. And the GTX 1070 is going for about $460 right now on Newegg, and the 1080 is going for about $510 on Newegg. So you know, at that point, once you start getting into the 400 price range, those really aren't mid-range cards anymore. That's high-end stuff. Most gamers can't afford to drop, you know, over $500 on a video card. So, and this is recent because just a little while ago I couldn't even get a 1070. They weren't even available to buy. And I remember just like 4 months ago I was looking for a 1070 and it was like $350, $360 shipped to my house, and I was debating on buying it. So really, they've even jumped up in price about $100 for a 1070 in the past 4 months. So yeah, it's not really a good time to buy a video card. I would just wait this one out. If you can't wait it out and you don't want to pay $400 or $500 for a video card, what you can do is get a low-end GPU, which is in the current generation, or you can get an older card from the last generation. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend going back more than 2 generations because those cards hog a lot of power, and you're going to spend more money in your power bill to run those cards, which the high-end cards of, let's say, 3 generations ago are performing with the lowest end cards of this generation today, and the lowest end video card of today's generations are using much less power. So there's really no point in going back more than 2 generations of video cards. I wouldn't recommend doing that. So what are your options on the front of the low end video cards of the current generation? So Radeon has the 460 2GB and the 460 4GB variant. Unless you're playing, you know, if you're just playing esports titles like Dota, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, I would not recommend the Radeon cards, even the 4GB model. And why is that? Because it's basically the same price as the GeForce, the NVIDIA card, the 1050 and the 1050 Ti. The 4GB variants go for about $150. I recommend the 1050 Ti all day and night over the Radeon stuff. The 1050 Ti mops the RX 460 all day and night. The 4GB variant, it just outperforms it. Now, if you're trying to spend $100 or less, then yeah, by all means, get a 460. Get a 2GB 460 if you're playing esports titles. But just be aware, the low-end cards, they are not going to be able to play 1080p at Ultra at 60 frames per second. They're not going to be able to, you know, run 144 hertz at 2K. It's just not going to happen. It's a low-end card that's going to give you on AAA titles, you'll get medium to high settings with some tweaks here and there at 60 frames per second. Now, if you're playing, like I said, if you're playing the esports, which are, you know, Overwatch, which are less graphically demanding, you'll get a good frame rate and FPS in those. But anything else other than that, you know, don't count your blessings. So what if you want something with a little more oomph, right? You don't want to go low end, but you want, you know, something more powerful that can handle more frames. You can go to the last generation of card, and that would be the GTX 960, which is pretty much equivalent to a 1050 Ti. You can get a GTX 970, which is pretty much equivalent to an RX 470, or you can get a GTX 980, which is equivalent to an RX 480 or a 580. Now, it's not pound for pound, guys. You know, some titles are going to perform a little better, but just, you know, around there, they're going to perform similarly to those cards. The 980, the GTX 980, performs a little bit better than the RX 480 and 580, but the Radeon cards perform a little bit better in DirectX 12. Now, like I said, if you step back a generation, you're gonna spend more money in the power bill. And, you know, it's kind of hard for me to recommend anything over the 1050 Ti, you know, at this point. You know, unless you're getting the GTX 980, which will outperform that very well. But those cards are gonna suck a lot of power. Now on the AMD side, you can go back, you know, the current generation is a 580, you know, the generation before that is a 480, which didn't really have too much architecturally different with them. You know, they basically just overclocked the 480 a little bit and put little tweaks here and there. It was more of a refresh than a generation. So I can technically go back 3 generations because the last one wasn't a full generation skip. So in the 2 generations before, which would be the 3rd one now, this one is called the R9 series. You know, you can get an R9 390, an R9 380, and an R9 370. These cards are very good. They come in 8GB and 4GB models. They're going to perform excellent. You know, they'll give you 60 frames per second at, you know, 1080p. They can run 2K at, you know, 60 frames per second, high ultra settings. And, you know, with some tweaking, you'll probably be able to get good, decent 4K frame rates as well. The problem, again, you're going to run into when you go into these older generation cards is they suck a lot of power, guys. You're going to be spending a lot of money to run these old cards, and you'll get the frame rate you want, but you're gonna pay for it. You know, the R9 390 sucks close to 300 watts from the wall. That's a lot of power, guys, okay? The GTX 1050 Ti doesn't even have a power port. You know, it runs off the standalone PCI Express lane, and it uses only about 75 watts, just for comparison. So I have a GTX 1050 Ti right now. I did sell my RX 480s with the whole Ethereum mining craze. I made a profit on them, and I have a 4K monitor, but I'm running it in 2K, and I'm getting around 50 frames per second. And I have my settings, I think they're tweaked, but they're anywhere from low to high with certain stuff. It's a custom setting, but it looks good, and I made a decision to, you know, to sell my cards. Now, here's the question. Should you mine, you know, Ethereum, or should you sell your cards? You know, that's a personal choice. You know, you'll have to deal with what I was just saying, what card that you would get in its place. But, you know, I bought these cards for $220 each, and I sold them for a lot more, you know. And I made a personal, you know, decision. You know, you have to weigh the pros and cons of what you want, but this is not gonna last. This happened, you know, a while back, a couple years ago. You know, all the AMD stuff was getting bought out again. You know, when people were mining Bitcoin and what have you. And then, you know, after, you know, they were done with it, the technology got too old. They flooded the market with all these old video cards, and you know, so this is not gonna happen again, I don't think. You know, if this Ethereum craze keeps going and it goes strong, then we could be in this for a while. But you know, I think it's gonna pass. You know, for the next, you know, 4 or 5 months or something. So so anyway, should you mine? You know, I would give it a try. If you've got an AMD card and you're not paying a high power bill, and you know, if you're not even paying your power bill, if your parents are paying your power bill or something, yeah, go ahead and mine. You know, follow the tutorials, get it set up. You will have to mine in a pool. Mining solo just isn't the way to go these days. The returns are much better if you pool and you mine in a pool of people. So you know, if that's not really your whole thing, you know, I tried to do it with a 1050 Ti. You know, I tried to get into it, and I just couldn't get it to run, man. I don't know, dude. I'm pretty computer savvy, and I couldn't get it to run, so I couldn't get it to mine for me. But if you can, you know, give it a try. But I personally sold my cards. What you can also do is just buy the Ethereum coins. You don't have to mine. You can just buy them online through an exchange, which is, I've also done that. But it's a good time to get into Ethereum. You know, if you want to mine, that'll be it's a good time right now. Ethereum is going up astronomically. It was about $40 per coin a couple months ago, and now it's over. It's like hitting close to 300 in it. You know, so. But that's basically what's going on. You know, you have to go to an older generation or. So what has Radeon and Nvidia doing? What are they doing to remedy this situation? They must know about it, that all their stuff is sold out. So they are creating mining cards specifically for mining cryptocurrencies. They're not going to have a video out, so you can't use them as a video card. Now, will these be adopted by the miners? Yeah, some will buy them, but others will not. A good portion will not. And why is that? Again, it goes back to the rate of return, or return on investment. If they buy a regular video card and they mine with it, they'll be able to sell that back to the public, and a large majority of people will buy that card because they can use it for a graphics card. So what are your thoughts, guys, on this whole situation? What is your story? What did you do? Did you sell your video card? Have you had a hard time getting one? I want to know your comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Just go ahead and give me ideas for new videos so I can bring you new content. Flux, Gamer Flux out.